We're coming on live.
This is live right now, please.
Yeah, I'm talking. You're talking. It's on me.
We're
You
talking.
ready?
We're talking
We're
on you.
here. We're heavy on the ish.
We're ishing all over the place today. uh, is it
Construction is a problem. I thought I was going to be the one that was going to make us late this
instructions?
morning.
I did too. Um, I did too.
I
But
squeezed right ahead of him. I was on the
you,
right time.
yeah, you're like, I'm in
I
here
rode the
setting
wave.
up. I was like, no, dang it, he got me. Dream Show Live, Parkway Automotive Studios. Stephen Eakin, aka the American Dream, aka El Hefe, aka by both of them, aka
What was the one shot? I just said
oh,
Bobby one shot, I think.
one take.
One take. That's what it was.
Yeah. Oh, Mr. One Take.
It's Mr. One Take. We're here. We're live.
Yeah.
Oh, there's some people in the comments.
678-226-1994 Musgrove Trial Firm. That's Buddy and his associates.
Associates. What does that mean?
I assume he has associates. I don't know. They're probably his homies that just come chill in the office and they like talk about law stuff and they're like, "Whoa, did you see this law that they tried to?" I don't know.
Jason
I doubt that's it at
Hathaway,
all.
or yeah, Jason Hathaway said 10-ish. Let's
Jason.
go.
Hey, we're heavy on the ish, Jason. You know how we roll here. Jason is the seventh
Good
best.
morning to Sheldon.
He's the seventh best white belt in our association.
Seventh.
Yeah, he's the seventh best. He's working his way up towards the top, but
What is the criteria for seventh best?
it's pretty low.
Okay.
It's pretty low.
Okay.
But he's a good guy. We love you, Jason.
That doesn't make you. That
Super
doesn't
fun.
define you as a person. Your
No,
jiu-jitsu
you
doesn't.
just you haven't been doing it long enough.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
it's cool, man. It's cool. Call Buddy if that bothered you. You should call him and talk to him.
Sure, he's got a conversation.
Dude, I want to get him on here so bad, but this live slot like this would have to be a show that we put in the can somehow to get him on here. I keep saying,
Yeah, we will.
So
We got some stuff in the works.
Bro, everything is in the works right now. There's so much in the works, and then you have stuff you want to do, and it's like, all right, let's do it. But then literally just any little things can be knocking you off your course. We're moving. 10th Planet Perry's moving into a
How's that going?
It's going well, honestly. We're moving into a much larger location. That in and of itself is causing issues, as far as supplies and stuff like that. Mostly paint has been hard to come by to get enough of what we need to do what I want to do. We could have probably, we could have got by without doing what I wanted to do, and we would have had enough paint. But then I wouldn't have did what I wanted to do. So it's on me. It's my fault. Everything is right. I self-inflict myself with stuff, but it's what I want. So we gotta make it happen, and we're trying to chase it all down, and it's just not coming together yet. It's gonna take another few more days than I thought it would because supply issues.
Just the supply chain getting things there.
Yeah, like I haven't really been needing any supplies from the real world, I guess.
That's Dad and I went and bought
it's-
lumber Sunday. And it was
Yeah.
like, oh wow, they like just don't have those in 12 foot. They just don't have them.
Just don't have it.
Yeah.
So yeah, and that's what it was for paint. But like we got a bunch. But like let's say I needed 40 gallons or whatever. I ended up with 39 or something, but they were all 1 gallons that then I couldn't get like the 5-gallon buckets of the paint that I needed because nobody was really holding it except for this one store. But they were holding it for their customer that had a job going on that they were probably going to need it for. And so that was like, all right, I get that. That's one of your main customers or whatever. That's what they need ongoing. You can't just be giving that away to some dude
that just showed up.
Right. Yeah. You don't know if
I don't know. Cash talks.
It does, but then if you in that business, that guy's
the contracting world's a lot more.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Yeah. So, he didn't tell me no. He told me it would just be Monday. So it's just gonna be Monday. It's just gonna be Monday.
You know, gotta wait.
Right, because that's that dude. That dude's already got that in there for him, so he can't give me the other guy's paint. Basically, he could, I guess, but I didn't push hard enough to force that guy's hand.
It's been crazy what that's touched and what's that shit. Like what the different supply chains. I had a whoop strap that took like 6 months to get here. It just like they were just like, we don't know where it is. It'll get there in a minute.
Yeah, the mail was all messed up and stuff for a while. I don't know. That was a couple years ago, I guess. At this point,
it feels like
everything all runs together at this point.
Everything
for sure.
does.
So we're doing all that. The paint is the hardest issue. We've done several rounds of cleaning. We're having to replace 2 whole bathrooms basically, and cleaning up stuff from a place that's not been used in a couple of
Unoccupied
years.
for a
Yeah,
while.
you know what I'm
Yeah,
saying. So
yeah.
just
I've played that game. I've
the
had a
normal,
building.
yeah, you know what I'm saying. The stuff that you got to do is there, and then running into the issues with the paint, and then it's kind of a lack of having the time to get it all set up too, because when we got the key to get in or whatever, and then made the plan for the paint and everything and went and got it to get started, it's only been a couple weeks or so. So it would have been nice for them to have a heads up that we were going to need this much stuff to be ready. So yeah, it is what it is. It'll be something we forget about in almost no time once it's done. And that's what it is. I want it to be nice. I want to go in there and have a nice place when we go down. We're going to end up immediately with more mats than we have space altogether now at our current location. So, I mean, I do math to a certain degree, but these mats, man, they're metric, but then they're also like 6.5 feet by 3.5 feet or something like that. So trying to figure out exactly the square footage of each one, and then I miscalculated how many we had on the floor already. So roughly 1,700 square feet of mats, 1,500 square feet on the very low end.
You know what that excites me about?
Assessments. The Mid-South is going to be off the charts a little bit now with the extra room. We don't have to worry so much about running into Papa John's right away.
We can swing by later.
They'll get some momentum.
Term.
Hey, they'll get some momentum up. And listen, they hit the walls. This one, there's this concrete behind the pads, so it's not sheetrock. So it'll slow them down now. But I think I can't wait to get in there and see what it's going to look like when it's all painted the way I was hoping. If it turns out the way that it better, it's gonna be so awesome. It's gonna be dope. And so we'll have just the one long wall that will be in play. But I'm pretty sure we'll be able to at least get people on the inside that could come and sit and watch it. Not sure if we're gonna do like tickets, because I don't want to necessarily deal with that hassle of like hustling a show in that regard. But may get some chairs, may tell you to bring your own chair, something like that. Come sit down and watch it or whatever and hang out and make it like a kickback or whatever event, because that's kind of what it has been the rest of the time anyway. People are just kind of sitting on the edges of the mats.
I mean, that was what was fun when we went to HQ and like what was that? The team quintet they were doing?
Team duels,
Their team duels. Like they do the qualifiers a lot like that too.
It's the
like,
same thing, yeah.
It's kind of like, I don't know, would you say Fight Club-ish?
I mean, to a
degree. It tickles that part of my brain.
I mean, it can be whatever. If you think about that world of it a lot, then yes, it does have that same scene in there. And I guess it does have that same vibe to a certain degree. If that's what
I lived like half of my, teenage childhood through that movie. So yeah.
No, it's cool, man. And that was and that's fun in and of itself, right? I liked that whole thing, and I like the way we were doing the Mid-South. But honestly, where we were at, there just wasn't really enough space to stage people and etc. So
everybody was just kind of sitting on the mats. It was very intimate,
and I like that,
which was fun.
It made it special.
But we're growing
all those different times. Yeah, and with that comes, great responsibilities. I don't know why Spider-Man.
I was gonna say I heard it on Spider-Man, and as seen it on a meme or two.
It's got to be true. I read it on internet. It was in a Craig Jones DVD somewhere. I swear.
Is anybody still selling DVDs?
I still call everything a DVD.
Yeah.
I don't care what you're doing. It's still your DVDs. You making DVDs. It's like
they're actually NFTs, bro.
NFT VDs.
Speaking of which, NFTs. You paying any attention to development? You excited? I'm excited about the PGF drop.
So this is the thing, man. Like I am in as much of that as I can, but honestly, you know how it is. I guess we talk about stuff, but with me a lot, it's like I get pretty heavy into the thing that I'm doing, and right now the thing I'm doing is trying to figure out what this is going to look like and how it's going to be best ran, and series of next moves and stuff like that. That's probably what's taking up the majority of my mental capacity. But yeah, I'm clicking over there, checking out OpenSea. .io and seeing what's going on. Checking my Coinbase wallet for my Ethereum and trying to bridge over to that Polygon while I'm late at night.
You are
know
listening.
what I'm saying?
You're listening.
I'm up late at night, so my gas fees aren't very high, or I'm up very early in the morning. That's what I do. Your boy wakes up early in the morning, has his coffee, and he's bridging these Ethereums. So
I have found that for like 4:30 in the morning, 5 in the morning, it's kind of the same as like 1 a.m. like midnight type prices. Yeah. I don't know if you've done any transactions.
I'm not that. I know. The only night I'll be up at 12:01 is the night the whitelist drops.
Oh, my Whoop strap is telling me how much of a horrible sleeping human being I am. Apparently,
you are a raccoon.
I was like, I really genuinely thought that like I got more sleep than I like.
Impossible.
It was kind of astounding to me how little sleep I was getting.
I think, dude, and this, no judgment on you, but I think that it's like you move around a lot, just in general, and so you don't really have that. You don't hit your sweet spot that often. If you have, like, you know what I mean? Like, you don't have the pillows set just right where you go that much.
I got a very nice bed at home that, like, when I do make it at home, I'm like, I do love this bed. Like,
yeah, Mandy and I got like these set of pillows that we have strategically started. We're the old people in the memes. It's so cool. We're the old people in the memes with the pillows strategically placed around to keep you from falling apart overnight. But it works, man. I'll be like,
do you sleep on your side or do you like you're a side sleeper?
I go side.
See, I heard that's horrible for you.
If you got the right pillow combination.
Oh, is that how it works?
Yeah, you gotta have.
What's your pillow setup?
All right, so, and I guess it's been a year or so, but Mandy, and this is whatever, she bought me a maternity pillow, which is one of those big long ones.
Okay.
And so then I'll use it to come like front ways, and then it'll go like under my butt on the side, the bottom butt cheek or whatever, to kind of like bolster me on the side a little bit. And then the other one is like under my neck. And then I'll have another pillow like under that one. And then I'll have
this is planned out.
I'll have a pillow like under my lat so my shoulder won't fall asleep. It'll be just kind of suspended, like floating. And then I'll have like another pillow.
Do you not move in your sleep?
I twist. I'll rotate side to side. Mandy hates me, but I'll rotate side to side. But no, I try not to move at all if I could help it. In my mind, I don't want to move.
Kim calls it my beached whale. I'll like go to like get up and I just launch myself in the air, flip over midair, and slam back down. And we've been together since we were like 18. So like we've been in twin beds together, and she's woken me up being like, stop.
Strategery. It's gotta be, yeah.
She's learned jiu-jitsu just by like sleeping next to me.
She goes to bed usually before I do it, to sleep, or whatever, a lot more before I do. So then I have to come in there and try to get it. So she's like, come in here and get your stuff set up so you don't wake me up when you come in. So I try to feel like
like go in there and like dog bed it.
I gotta get
make
the mats.
Bed.
Yeah. Better
do a couple circles.
It ain't gonna be right if you don't. You know what I'm saying?
There's a reason your dog does it.
I mean, there's a reason everything takes the right amount of preparation, man, if you want it to be successful. So
Sheldon says those maternity pillows are dope.
Yes.
But also damn near the size of the bed.
Hey, king side or die. Just that's it.
Bro, we had a bed like early on that was there was something super special about it. I think it was because the bedroom set was like it came over on a wagon like in the like 1800s, and like but it goes together like puzzle pieces.
The bed did.
Like, yeah.
The bed came in on a wagon.
The bed did. Yeah.
From where?
I have no idea.
Like from downtown or whatever. Like
it was like I think
they wagoned it from the bed maker's house. I think her
family was something like they were they were merchants. They were merchants of some sort in like Pennsylvania.
Okay.
And so like her dad was in antiques, she was in antiques, like they were all
you told me that.
Yeah. So like it makes sense from their family history for that to happen. But
listen, if anybody's actually in Isaac's family, I don't discredit any part of y'all's story. I was just gonna mess with him a little bit. That's all I was really gonna do about that it came in on a wagon.
It came in on a wagon.
It's legit, man. I believe you. But,
circle the wagon.
But yeah. No, man. So it came in on a wagon.
So like, anyways, it was this super special bed. So like, it wasn't. It had to be a custom sized like
a wagon size bed.
Like I don't even
It's
know
gotta
what
fit a wagon.
it wasn't a queen or a king.
They ain't no kings and queens in America.
I don't
Back
know.
then. Not in wagon
Hey,
times.
I didn't have a twin brother and I had a twin bed.
Touche.
That was a Mitch Hedberg joke for you there, Brandon.
Oh, he killed me with that one. That's what I didn't know.
So, anyways, the bed was too small for the frame. And so, like, when I would do that whole beach whale thing,
So you mean mattress.
Mattress, bed, mattress. What's the all right? What do you call the part you sleep on?
When you said it was the bed that came on the
That's
wagon,
the frame.
I'm thinking about like the headboard and the frame and stuff like that.
So then the mattress had to be a custom shaped mattress.
That's what I was thinking. That's what I lay on
Specifics.
Is the mattress.
I'm sorry.
The bed is the same, and you can change your mattress.
Is that like wheels and tires where people mix that up? Yeah, actually, it's not the same thing. Yeah,
I feel like that's pretty close to the same thing.
All right. So, anyways, it had to be a custom sized mattress, that of which we did not have. So we just threw, I think it was what's between like a queen and it's a full. It was like a full size. And so there were like gaps on either side. So if I like jumped up and spun around, it would just, it was wild.
Dude, one of the greatest bed inventions, and we're just going off now.
That's the point
of all times for me was when Thomas was a baby. It's called a sidecar. And so she'd take the crib and it would be pushed up against the wall, and then like one of the things would be off, and then that would be like our bed would be pushed up beside it. So Thomas would be in his crib. It would basically be like he would be laying in an extended part of our bed or whatever. So that way it'd be pretty easy to deal with the waking and the needing to eat or whatever in the nighttime for him and stuff like that. That was pretty innovative. I appreciated whoever taught us that thing. Bed stuff. Sidecar.
It's
called
like a sidecar for a motorcycle.
Like
a motorcycle.
Yeah, it's just got the little.
I pictured like a little motorcycle sidecar with like a little baby in it. There was a whole scene in my head.
A crib. Yeah,
you know,
for sure.
When you teach the technique and you're like, "Are you here or did you go somewhere?" I might have gone somewhere.
Already gone.
Yeah,
gone.
I just got back. So. But also with the Mid-South, are there still spots open for
We're looking for some dudes.
Seminar?
Some peoples. 185. Mid-South people first. Let's talk about that first.
Mid-South,
April 9th. 185. Open ring. I'm trying to get as good of guys as we possibly can get in for this one. And people are hitting me up that want to get in, and I'm letting them know that this is a pretty deep division. And if they say whatever they say, I can be convinced. You know what I mean? I can be swayed by a good argument from a dude that wants to go throw his hat into the ring. Because I respect it. I appreciate that vibe from a guy, so we're looking for the black and brown belts as much as we could get, of them, but purples and blues, hit me up,
if you think you could.
Yeah, if you're ready to go out there and maybe put yourself out there on that level, hit me up. It's $100 for the buy-in. You'll take home at least $2,000. Sit, 16 man, 185 pounds, same day weigh in. I guess I should say same days. You'll have to weigh in and then come back later, but we may push it later into the day. Just because
it's more that prime time,
right? Push it on back now.
The reason the top college games play later on Saturday.
Yeah. So we'll do that, and then the next day we're having Geo and Boogie for a Freak Brothers seminar. They'll combine times for a couple seminars. I don't know exactly the format they want to run. I'm going to totally leave that up to them as far as how they want to do it, because it's a thing they do. It's not, they have individual seminars or whatever during the thing, but a Freak Brothers seminar it's like another thing.
Is this a typical thing they do?
It is a thing they do if people want to.
It's like a combo.
Right. But then, and we are, but you gotta pay both dudes to be able to come. Right. That's the thing. But that's it. It's like, they would like to do that. They like working together. That's the cool part, is that they're brothers that love each other and they've worked together and support each other in that way. And they've been together through a lot of the other stuff. So they understand that.
Did they both start at the same time? or was
I think
one
Geo was like this much,
and then was like, hey, come do this
maybe,
thing.
Maybe.
That'd be an interesting story.
It's almost essentially exactly at the same time though, because they were already dancing together and doing everything like that together. So that's what I mean. So it's really interesting when you see two people that have worked together for a long time come out there and do their job. Well, these are two dudes that have worked together their entire lives, and they're doing this job now. So it's a special kind of experience. And then for us, obviously, moving to this space, they are the reason, for much of the reason that this is even happening here. My hard work and etc. But being with those guys and learning a lot from them and the vibes and picking up how to move around and do stuff in the room, I think it has been something that I've realized since I've been gone and been back around them again, is what I've learned more than the jiu-jitsu. Like the jiu-jitsu too, for sure. Don't get me wrong.
But the teaching styles.
Yeah, the style and how to handle the room as far as dealing with people in general and how to express myself in a way that's honest and not fearful of what necessarily is going to come from other people when I say what I say, or if they have a difference of opinion or whatever it is on the other side of that. Just go out there and do your thing. It's your art, and be honest about it. And
would you say that's where you got a lot of that from? Because you do have that outlook and you preach that to your students. Do you think you picked that up from them?
I think I got the confidence to say
what you thought. Yeah, okay.
You know what I mean? To really be more vocal in a way that wasn't just aggressive. You know what I mean? Learn how to be more blasé, I guess you could say, about different situations instead of having to be so hard about everything. Because man, I just want and this is what I say about other people sometimes, and it's true about me for sure, that I wanted there to be some I like rules, man. I wanted there to be some rules and some things that would work. And when you do this, it works. But then when that got pulled out from under me, because I had, believed that that's kind of what it was for a long time, that took a lot of like relearning of a bunch of things. You know what I mean? It was jiu-jitsu, of course, but it was a lot of other things in my life, When I got out there, I didn't immediately start training with him, but Thomas was like a year old. I was a stay-at-home dad, So there were so many things that were probably not unique circumstances to everybody now in a lot of ways, but then there wasn't as many people that were doing that thing openly, being staying at home or being with the kids all day while their wife worked and made all the money or whatever. That was kind of looked at funny by some people or whatever, but they could, and whatever, they could look at it how they wanted to. That's the way we did it, and it worked. And so, you know what I mean? Just being there, like all those things were putting me in the position to be ready to make that realization or whatever.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So I think I was on that road either way. Like I said, the lesson's going to repeat itself one way or the other until it's learned. And so like being humble and like learning how to be, like truly trying to be humble about things and like showing humility in situations where you don't always have to. I think that's the thing that I was trying to see how to do. And not that they're perfect people and that they always do that or whatever either. That's what I'm trying to say. It's
you just saw the example.
Yeah. And then
the model,
the ideals,
right?
Like the stuff that I saw that was good. Again, that's what I wanted to take. And then there were some things I disagreed with that I try not to do. You know what I mean? And that's part of their growth or his growth or who is ever growth. The arguments with people and stuff like that. Sometimes they're going through something and you don't know it. And then, later on it comes back around. You guys have another conversation. It's like, oh man, I never realized that then.
Yeah.
Oh, that makes a lot of sense why we weren't on the same page
because you were dealing with XYZ or whatever.
Yeah. You didn't. Yeah. Sorry, man. I wish you could have told me that or something like that. You know what I mean? I wish we could have vibe better.
So I had a thought on the way here that was interesting because like these type of shows where like I had a bunch of stuff going on, so I didn't get in here till this morning. And so like when I roll in here cold like this and I haven't seen you yet, it's really interesting to me because I have no idea what page you're on.
Yeah.
And you have no idea what page I'm on. And so we can come in on two totally different wavelengths. But what I find interesting is usually by the end of the show where we figure out what each other are talking about. Well, that's just an interesting like dynamic that it was a thought that I had on the way here.
It works, man. I don't know how it works. Like I don't know how any of this stuff works. I really don't, man.
I think admitting that is part of it. Is admitting when you're wrong or you don't know or you like that's the
like
the
this
healthy
in general
way
too.
Yeah.
Like this whole conversation stuff, being on a live show podcast, like leading a room full of people in general. You know, teaching people something at all is a thing that people should value and think is important. If you're teaching somebody stuff, it's important. And then what I'm teaching people, I feel like is even more important because of what it is and how it can be very beneficial or very like detrimental to you to use or not use this appropriately or whatever, you know. Yeah, it's just I don't know. It's you know, there's a lot of things that are going on with that. And so I wanted to have them both over here at some point. I wish I could have done it before, but we just didn't. We could barely fit 30 people into the space that we had, you know, and so it would just have been
timing is
not a waste, right? Of course, but we had Gio here like last month, and honestly, we were talking about everything, and he just kind of brought it up, even something, you know, just in conversationally about you know, getting them both to come over here for like a Freak Brother seminar, and I was like, oh yeah, that would be cool. And then I was like, well, we'll do it when we move to that new space. And then I was like, well, why don't we do a Mid-South? Because they wanted to do Sunday based on the way their schedules are set up for the next while. And I was like, so why don't we do a Mid-South on Saturday? And then that can lead into the big seminar on Sunday. And it could be like a big weekend thing. And it turns out that it's actually like the Dogwood Festival weekend here in Perry. So it's cool. I got the dudes. I got 4 guys right now that are brown belts, essentially, that have schools that are under me now that will be there, and we're kind of you know, I think that's gonna be cool. My buddy Seth, and about 4 or 5 of his dudes from Nevada, or people, I don't know if they're all dudes, are coming in from Nevada from that school, and they're gonna spend a week down here or so and be here for that whole weekend. And one of his blue belts is gonna compete in the Mid-South and stuff like that. It's a really tough kid, young kid. I've never seen him really roll with anybody at the higher levels except for myself. So it'd be fun. That's what I'm saying. It's like the experience.
The Mid-South has shown to like give some guys experience and give them like a couple guys that broke out right after.
Yeah.
Like,
and he's young and he could show himself to be really great right away, or it could be a really good experience to come over here and get on the mats and see what's up. And then beyond that, it's going to be great to have him here for, you know, a week to get to train and to see me in my native environment, so to say, I guess, even though it won't be too, I mean, we would have been there for a month, I guess, so it should be a little bit more settled.
Oh, but man, that place felt like home the day we walked in.
For sure. Wait till it's done getting painted, man. I hope God, it's gonna be great. It's gonna be so good. But yeah, but like they've only been around me when I came to do a seminar, and so they got to hang out at the seminar, and then maybe we go to dinner or something like that and hang out and stuff. So they haven't got to really hang out for more than a few days at a time, really. So that'd be fun to have those guys around, and then the other dudes, Wesley from Waycross.
Yeah, I just met him.
Blackwater.
I think we rolled for the first time.
Yeah, at the
GA seminar. Yeah,
I'm doing a seminar down there, March 19th. I think it's $50 is what he's got it at, but they're only holding 20 people max. So if you're interested in going to that and you're in that area, March 19th in Waycross at Blackwater Jiu Jitsu. Hit him up, Wesley Sweat. My dude, we're going to be down there running it. And then Richard Schonecker in Tifton at Thrive Jiu Jitsu. And then Jimmy, obviously, Jimmy Barnett at Tech Center. Those are my 4 dudes. That'll be whatever we do when we do it. And there's a lot of ways that things like that play out. People could have like I don't know. I don't really have that. idea to have my own association. I used to kind of think that would have been really cool. Be like the Stephen Eakin Jiu Jitsu Association, where I had like 12 schools or some crap with my name on it. And it still might be one day. I'm not gonna say that I never will want that again or something like that, but right now I don't think that is what I want.
It comes with a whole nother pile of things too.
Yeah, and just it comes with a lot of other stuff.
Great responsibility,
right? Yeah, exactly. Like, and it's not even that about the great power or whatever.
No.
It just like right now the way things are, I really enjoy where I'm at. I really like the system. I really like the guys that I know, the 10th Planet system overall, the way that we do things. And we here are going to grow into that the same way. And I think we've seen the Southeastern schools really coming on strong more and more over the last year or so.
4 years ago, there was barely any jiu-jitsu down here other than like the major like Atlanta hubs. Like if you went to
it was all MMA based.
Yeah, it was all MMA.
And there's still a lot of that still in the smaller cities. A lot of the guys are still wanting to be fighters mostly and training in that mindset instead of trying to be like martial artists or whatever and going out and just doing jiu-jitsu or whatever and stuff. So like my plan would be to have everybody that, if there is another dozen schools that do want to associate under me or affiliate with me in some sort of way, the deal with that is that you would have to earn your black belt eventually, right? I guess that's the goal for anyone. If that's what they're doing, if you're associating with someone in that way, I guess that means that you would like to earn a rank, just in general, even if it's not the main priority.
I mean, the rank, it's a lot like they talk about college degrees and stuff like that. It's more of necessarily just like proving that like you dedicated the time.
Some of these dudes would probably be black belts in other places already.
Right.
Like they would already be it like right now, probably in some places.
But they want whatever that specific one means.
Well, if they want it from me, it's going to mean something that I may not even understand fully yet, because I've not even done anywhere close to that yet. Like we were
What's the highest you've ranked?
I'm only giving away blue belts.
Blue belts.
Yep. I've never even given away a purple belt.
So you're going through that own journey of your own.
Well, yeah, and my standards I think are going to be pretty high.
Yeah,
like I feel like the standards are going to be really high, and for the first guy, definitely very high, and then that's going to set the pace for everybody after that. So that's what I'm saying. But for those guys, when they get to that point, my like wish, I guess, would be that if they want to, like they don't have to, but then they would just be a 10th Planet school
at that point.
If they want to be an affiliate,
because they would be a 10th Planet black belt.
Yeah, right? You affiliate under Eddie. You send that up to Eddie, and then that would be legit, and you could be in that, and not to me. That's not my thing. You know what I mean? That would be like I think that's the right thing to do in this situation for me. I don't want to take all that right now because I don't know, man. I just don't think I want that responsibility. Like you said, I just really don't. And to hear Eddie even talk about it, it gets pretty heavy dealing with all that stuff. And I see some of the things that happen in a broad sense that can happen, and it's just like, yeah, man, that's a lot of responsibility. You have your gym, that's one situation, but then when you add more of those, then you're compounding every one of those situations again.
Well, ultimately they end up reflecting on you, and so like you have to,
in some way,
and there's,
or either you see people that have the disagreements, and then you ultimately have to be the one that swings the hammer
on some,
and and you don't think either one of them deserves to have the right choice or the wrong choice or whatever. Like sometimes there is no real thing, but when you're doing with business or whatever, there's got to be somebody's got to make the, and it falls
not about feelings.
It falls to the boss at that point. And then if you're, if you're a Hefe, you got to do a Hefe things, and it is what it is.
It's lonely at the top sometimes.
Sometimes it is, man. It is, because you never know, what's going on around you in some ways, and how everybody's feeling all the time. It's tough to navigate that in general, because for me at this point, I've moved. I've been at like 3 or 4. 3. So let's see. Yeah. 1, 2, basically like, the Perry here being like the 5th place or school or whatever you would say.
Right.
Where I've lived and trained long enough to have like made friends, like really like and people I still talk to, obviously here, but like that's a lot of people over time that I still want to care about and connect with or whatever. So the more that gets spread out, then the less that I can make those connections again with other, circling back to someone from another time, and of course that doesn't all fall on me to be the one that has to circle, into the conversation with people, but sometimes I want to, I think, to just hit up the random person from before me that you do what's going on, but I not usually, probably don't have the mental capacity always because of the new people that have came into the space that the old teammate used to kind of feel in some ways. And it's not like a personal thing it's proximity, and it's just that this is what's right here in front of me. So I got to deal with what's in front of me, not in a negative way, deal with it, but I just got to be present with you right now.
Well, and so much of the like success on most things, and I mean, they talk about this with the people on when you're making the journey towards black belt or whatever, a lot of it plays out in who's left, who's still around, like who's putting forth the effort to still be in the room. And like when you hear about like the guy that worked at Apple right before they did, and then he left, and it's like, well, maybe you moved on to something else, but like it's about who's left in the room
always. Like it's always that, and then there's no, again, that's the thing that we said,
that's not personal up or down, like in the business sense is what I'm saying.
Like for me, and if I didn't leave San Diego, it would still be going, it would still be great, I'd still be on that team, I'd still be coaching, you know what I mean? So that would still be a thing for me, and it would be good in that way. But there was other things that weren't really,
you needed to grow somewhere.
I needed to do something else, and it wasn't really that I wanted to have my own school. I just want to have space for my kids. I wanted to have space for my family to be comfortable and different things like that. And there wasn't that in San Diego.
Different phases.
Nothing to do with gyms. So that's what I'm saying. Nothing personal. I've never really left a school exactly because I was just like mad at the school or thought that they sucked or whatever kind of deal like
you're
that.
Making your own personal,
just trying to level up every time, trying to make myself better, or accepting that what Mandy had going on was going to make us both better. And so going with that, and then accepting that was going to be the best opportunity either way, no matter what, to deal with what was there. And the teams were good. That's the thing. I never thought I chose a bad team.
Yeah.
Just kind of put myself in some bad situations a couple of times, got hurt, whatever life. But we're here now, and we're blowing up, I guess. Like, I hate that. I don't know.
South Dakota Chris said he's never leaving. I don't know what that means.
Are you here?
I was gonna say, is he under the
Zach? Where are you going, Chris?
He was saying he was going to make a visit back to South Dakota. It's just too cold for me up there, man. He was saying something about like
when
negative 15. Yeah. When's it warm?
When's it thaw out up there? We'll check it out a little bit.
But
yeah, so we're doing it here in Perry. We're gonna grow, man. We're gonna get people on staff. We're gonna have guys helping out, and I think immediately we'll see a big boom, probably in the kids program first, because we already have a waiting list for that, and so we'll be able to start doing that first. And then there's just other opportunities to things we can add, but at a bare minimum, the amount of jiu-jitsu we can do is doubling with space, like at least.
Yeah.
So I'm super excited about that. It's the only thing that's going on really in the world outside. There's other things that we're working on. Dude, all right, one thing too, my kajabi. I have a thing. It's my kajabi. What is it? The Dream. It's dreamnogi.mykajabi.com. Is that right?
I think so. I was looking to see if I still had it as a slide. I don't.
See, that's how bad we were slacking. It's my fault. But I have it. It's still up. We're adding classes to the archives weekly at the minimum now. There's multiple seminars that are on there that are uploaded. different things like that. It's going to be $5 a month. I'm going to have a code out for a free month for everybody to jump on. If you want to get in there and check that out. So I'm just saying it out loud again on here. That way it holds me accountable. dreamnogi.mykajabi.com. That is going to have a class archive. We're going to start doing some mini courses like once a month or whatever. And all those things will tie back into other things that we've got going on. So yeah, so trying to make the level up consistent, smooth with the work, giving out better directions to everyone, giving myself better directions. You know, I like being a little willy-nilly, you know, if you will, fly by the seat of my pants sometimes. But that's not necessarily the best thing for everybody else in the room. So trying to work on that. That's one of my goals in personal improvement, is to help other people do better by managing what I do better.
It makes it easier to follow. Like
for sure, man.
Like having the boss that knows, like, all right, this is what I'm gonna do. Well, then like you don't have to call him at 2 a.m. when you're working on a project.
Yeah.
To like say, hey, is this okay? You're like, no, I know it's okay because I know this is within his realm.
It's just a thing about like,
but it's a balance between that and micromanaging.
Yeah, and I don't know what the word I was trying to think about and say, but it's a trust issue. I think that's what it is. Maybe one to just needing to have that control in some ways, or just trusting that things are going to go well without me, or you know what I mean, stuff like that. And then, like we said before, it's just not really wanting to be like that all the time. So I've got to just figure out how to get the parameters set for certain things, and then let that operate itself, because we'll have the right people in the right positions, stuff like that. So
the bosses I've seen that have done a good job of that, they have like a set day that is like, all right, this is staff meeting day.
Yeah, I'm thinking
we all sit down, everybody talks about it, and you go one by one and go, what do you need? What is your projects? What is it? All right, cool. And that's the only day that it's like, this is business.
For sure. So yeah, all those things are starting to be what I'm trying to do and get written down for everybody to know more about what they're doing going forward. I think the opportunities, like I said, are there for people to have opportunities. We just got to really nail down what we're doing. And the Kajabi's one thing, the school's one thing. We've got the Dream No-Gi camp. It's probably sold out. I have to look at the numbers. I haven't really been able to look at it, but people keep buying them anyway. So we're getting pretty low on whatever that is. It's got to be below 10 for sure. It's definitely below 10 spots. I don't know for sure.
So if you're interested, get in touch.
DreamNoGiCamp.com. Listen, man.
Hey, I do have that ticker.
DreamNoGiCamp.com. Myself, Kendall Roosing, PJ Barch, and Phil Schwartz at Hotel Costa Verde in Manuel Antonio is October 9th through the 15th, 2022. Boom. Look at that. Look at that. I did it again.
That season of the Dream Show is going to be incredible too, because I now know
what you're doing,
what I'm dealing with.
Sort of. We think so.
I've never filmed in a jungle before. There were a lot of like things that I was like, oh yeah, fuck, that makes sense.
Yeah, super humid here. But yeah, that's gonna be really fun, man. We've got some other things like okay. So have you heard of the guy Mindset Mike?
No, I have not.
Mindset coach, like a guy.
I'm listening.
He does things with people who are in the UFC and Bellator and whatever. He's a respected, like,
I'm still listening.
Right. Yeah. And just, there's been contact about possibly having him be a part of it or something like that, or whatever, being a part of it. Some people have shown some interest in that. So I like stuff like that personally.
Yeah.
And so
I don't dislike it, but I do approach it with somewhat skepticism.
Bringing up, just bringing up the conversation with him about what we could do and what could work or whatever.
That'd be interesting.
Because I think he might just want to be able to train.
So he's a jiu-jitsu guy?
Yeah, he's a jiu-jitsu guy too. He trains. I think he's a blue belt from what I can tell from our little bit of interactions and stuff.
That's cool.
So just kind of, maybe we'll add some of that to the camp as an option thing where people can, if you want to do that, it'll be one of the experiences is you can have some like mindset training time where
I was gonna ask,
super
like,
high level guy.
Maybe like, have we thought about doing some yoga or
I
some like?
was about to say we've had a
meditation?
person that some of the other ladies that have been there before
Okay.
recommended very highly has reached out to me. She's a yoga practitioner and does like yoga that would be beneficial for the jiu-jitsu.
Right.
And then so pre or post or in between sessions or whatever, trying to figure again, just got to work out the work out the schedule is the biggest, hardest part about everything, because this is the deal. Nobody is going to be happy with everything, right? There's going to be some of it that's not going to work. Some people aren't going to be able to make this. Some people aren't going to be able to make that. And that's okay. That's what I want everybody to know is like, it's okay, man. Pick and choose what you're going to be able to do the most or what you want to do the most and do that. And then don't worry about everything else, because you're going to miss something. Because if you do everything that we do, you're not going to get to go to the beach, or you're not going to get to go to the hike, or you're not, you know what I mean? There's going to be something in the country that you miss if you spend all the time doing the jiu-jitsu stuff. So it's like, you can't do it. That's why you need to come every time. That's why I keep going
every single time.
Why I keep going, man. That's what I'm saying. Is like,
I want to spend more time surfing this time.
There's so much stuff that you can literally, like, we didn't even do any of the like hiking kind of stuff or ATV
like we got like one
whatever.
little like adventure out.
So you know, we're spent, you know, so that's the thing is like the other tours that we did were fun and stuff like that, but they weren't some of the things that maybe I would want to do, because I'm familiar with some of the stuff that I've done already, and I would like to go do that again, you know, or whatever. And this year Mandy and I are bringing our kids. Thomas and Charlie are going to be down there for that week with us, so that'll be really fun. Hopefully that'll mean Thomas will get to train, probably Charlie too. I don't think any of the kids were that small, but with some of the kids that were down there,
that'll be fun.
That'd be really fun,
because he's really kind of gotten into training.
Yeah, he loves it, man. You know, he's really getting good at it. Yeah, you know, relative.
Like he's having success, so it makes him feel good. Yeah.
Right. And just like, and he's doing things that you're like, why are you okay? Just like I talked to y'all. You know, he sees our classes. And so he's watched the videos. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. So he's like, I'm gonna try that thing.
He's seen it a lot, and it works on these kids. But then he doesn't know what he's doing next, though.
He's like, oh, I'm here.
He's seen the double ankle sweep a bunch of times, so he's pulling butterfly guard and like holding the ankles in butterfly guard. But then he just like doesn't know what to do next, and so he lets him like take his back or something, because he doesn't know. No, you got to like sit up and sweep or put the foot. You know, so just like it's cool.
How old is he now?
He's 7.
Yeah, I mean, to be going, like, I see grown adults going through that transition, so it's kind of interesting. Okay, he's going through that at 7. What's he gonna be going through at 14? Like,
yeah, and we talk about like that's what I'm saying. Is like, and I have the same conversation that I do with him. Is like, what are you trying to accomplish right here? I was just gonna get him in my guard. I was like, okay. What were you gonna do with your guard when you got him in there? I was gonna try to sweep him, or for a while he wanted to do a triangle or an arm bar, because when he did that tournament over here, so this is one of the things with the kids, they stop them really fast if they get any sort of submission. So that kid that Thomas went with first, like arm barred him super fast.
Right.
But it wasn't really an arm bar.
He was just in the right position.
But it was close enough that if it was a switch hard one way or the other, it could have hurt Thomas's arm maybe.
Yeah.
Because Thomas wasn't doing smart defense, but the other kid didn't have the arm bar either. And so then Thomas goes out there, and this is the other kid's teammate, and he just does basically the same thing to that kid that the other kid did to him.
I got you.
And gets an arm bar.
He's like, oh.
And they got an arm bar. And it's like, congratulations, buddy. That's not an arm bar.
But I kill people with it, Dad.
Yeah, I won this medal, son. Did you see that? 16 seconds.
So if he sticks with it, sticks with it for like
he'll figure it out
next time. But I have a question. If he sticks with this and like he doesn't let up for
he's already
10 years.
Oh, you mean in general?
In general. Like when he's like 16, he's been training, you know, pretty consistently and whatnot. Is he gonna be that like 16-year-old like white belt or blue belt that's like, he's 16. And then you're like, oh God.
No, if he trains consistently, he's already a gray white belt.
That's what,
yeah. So I
don't even know what that means.
He'll be moved up the rank. He won't be a white belt. He'll be a green belt, basically, I guess, until he can be if he stays consistently, he'll go through the kids' ranks. I don't know the exact order off the top of my head. Sorry.
But then that turns into blue belt when they're
it ends up from green to blue belt when he turns 15.
15,
I think. And so at the young ages that he started at, he'll probably have to go through all the belts.
Yeah, but he's gonna be a 17-year-old black belt but blue belt. That's gonna be crazy.
Yeah.
It blows my mind when I see kids training.
If he wants to.
That's what I'm saying.
And there's other kids that are at our school that are the same way. And other schools around the country too. That's the thing.
I'm speaking in general of just watching these kids that are coming up in it that are like getting the bug at like 10. You're like, oh man, I hope that sticks with you because wow, like how good are you gonna be?
See that I really wonder, and I try to figure out what he's into it for too. And I know a lot of it's because I'm into it and he wants to make me proud and all that kind of stuff. But I try to make sure that he's having fun as much as possible.
Yeah.
In a way that he still, you still got to do the work, but in general, it needs to be fun. There's no pressure to really, really compete when he, he wants to compete on those days that he talks about on the Fridays when we do the competition for the belt in the in-house tournaments every Friday. He gets sad if he's going out of town or something like that and he can't go compete or whatever. He gets upset or, and it's like, well, man, it's going to be fine. He's like, no, I want to go win the belt. And he's like legit is upsetting. And it's like, well, I don't want to talk you out of that feeling.
Yeah.
Like I want you to want it, but it's also okay to come with us out of town today and miss this one.
And miss the one.
You know what I'm saying? Yeah. So it's like, there's a balance there that's got to come into play.
But back then too, like when that stuff was like that was like the Super Bowl every week.
Oh, for sure.
Like, it was like there's never going to be another one.
Yeah, exactly. And it's a belt, man. And he wins and he's establishing himself with his peers in there.
How does he handle it when he loses it?
He's gotten a lot better.
Yeah.
Same thing. We've had the conversations. When he had a breakdown one day, the last time he had a tough day, and this was my fault. He had a tough match with somebody, and there was an odd number, but he won the match before, and I really believed that he would be able to win the next one without having to take a break, like without giving a match between break or whatever like that, but just giving him a second and saying restart and just do it again, to win. And he was tired because he had a tough first match and he was ready for that break. Mentally, he'd already won and he was taking that break. And I was like, all right, I want you, Thomas, and you to go together. And he was like, what? I just went. And it's like, yeah, I know. It's okay. And he started crying and he was just, and I was like, dude, slow down. Yeah. Calm down. I want you to go compete out here. It's okay. And he's like, he's like, but I'm tired or whatever. And it's like, I know. And then he went out there and just kind of broke down. And so I called him over there and was like, hey man, listen, dude, I'm sorry. First of all, for pushing you so hard right there. But I think you could have did that. I think you could have won if you could have convinced yourself that you could win. But you were tired, and I understand you're tired because you just did a hard match. You did, and that's true. That's not a lie.
Yeah,
I don't not believe you. So that's what I want. I try to qualify all the things that I know are true for him that he's going to say that are true. It's like, I was tired. You were. That's right. And your arms hurt. That's true. You did. You just had a really tough match right before that. And he's tough. Yep. Y'all do. He beats you sometimes, doesn't he? Yep. That's true. So it was scary. Yeah. It was scary, right?
Yeah.
That's what it was.
Yeah.
It wasn't really that you were tired, it's that you were a little bit afraid in that situation, right?
Yeah.
Yes, sir. And it's like, all right. And I respect that. I respect that as an answer too. If that's your answer, is that I'm a little bit afraid right now. And we can talk about what that means. We can talk about what it means when you're afraid in that moment though. Right. But I believed in you and I thought that you were going to be able to win. But in your mind, you were a little bit too tired and it made you afraid because he's tough. And so that's what happened right there. Right. Okay. So then we can go from there, instead of just, screaming at him. And sometimes that's the thing I want to do is just like, why don't you just do whatever, and it's like, but that's completely the opposite of everything that I'm trying to do.
And even those that would normally have had that reaction to drive you harder or drive their son harder or their athlete harder, it's sometimes coming from a good place, but it doesn't come across that way.
Not until they know.
And then they finally go through it and they're like, oh, that's what he meant by trying to push me through that.
Right. Because we've had this, and I may have talked about this. We had this a girl, Lacey. I think she's 8 now, 7 or 8. but she's about his size, and they win and lose against each other often because she's sharp and she pays attention, and they talk about it at home. She's got 2 brothers that train also, and she's really, really good with that stuff. And there was one day that she was going with someone that was bigger than her, and he mounted her, and it was like competition, and she couldn't really get away, and she was crying. She started crying or whatever, and Andy's the referee. And, you know, a lot of times when they cry, we stop it because it's going to be over. You know what I mean? And they're not really trying to put up a fight anymore. They're overwhelmed, or, you know, something happened like that. So we'll stop it and give them a second to get their thoughts together if they can, and regroup if they want to and come back in, or if it's an injury kind of deal, we'll go, you know, figure that out. But she was still trying to like escape, but was like crying. And so I was like, wait. And so I asked her in the moment, was like, are you crying because you're hurt or whatever, and you want to stop? Or are you crying because you're fighting really hard and you're frustrated? And she nodded her head at that. And I was like, all right, let him go. And she still didn't escape, you know, and she cried until she was done. And even a few seconds after, you know, but I was like, man, to me right there, that was better than getting the escape. Through it. I was like, that was the thing, you know.
You're like, all right, I'm gonna eat it.
And I believe that was after the thing with Thomas had happened.
Okay.
So I don't know if she saw that conversation or that thing play out where that came up, maybe, or maybe her dad has that conversation with her at home about those things where it's tough and you have those emotions or whatever, how to deal with that feeling. Because that's the thing, man. What do you do as a person, you general people, when you feel so overwhelmed like that, where everything is against you, it feels like, and the only way out you think could be to quit? Like, you know what I mean? But you can't quit. You literally can't. Or that's giving up. You know what I mean? In this situation, that's the thing. You'll know there's a difference between quitting and like giving up.
Right.
You know what I mean? When you run out of options and you run out of things that can work, and somebody's just got you, that's not giving up. You know what I mean?
I think that gets misinterpreted. Like with that viral video, the guy like getting his arm broken, his coach being like, "Don't tap." It's like, that's not a scenario to be tough,
bro.
Like, you know you're caught. The guy holding you looked at the ref, knowing you were caught, and was like, "All right." So like,
I hope that wasn't this guy. I still try to
give the benefit of the doubt that it was just a bystander or or a homie.
I hope so.
Not a good homie if that's your homie.
Dumb blue belt or white belt dude that's with you or whatever that doesn't know what he's talking about. Because hey, Kimuras don't work from there, man. Right. He can't. If you go over to that side, he can't do it from there. That's what coach said.
Kimuras are only for the thing. Kimuras are only for strong people.
Hey, this dude is strong as hell.
Turns out he's strong.
He's a hoss, as they say in some places.
Ooh, yeah. That video was on my timeline for like 2 days straight, and it made me queasy every time.
Skip.
Yeah, I would keep scrolling.
Once I saw it once, I was like, okay, I know what this is.
That's a lot like the guard jumping in the heavyweights. Like, I just don't even watch that video.
And so this is the thing. We started with our kids too. We started with the submission stuff with them a lot. At least like, not started with it, but once we started doing stuff that was actual jiu-jitsu, I started them kind of with like the OT stuff to get them comfortable with positional sparring.
That is interesting.
But they learn chokes and choke escapes and different things like that. Well, then they started just trying to yoke each other's necks around, right? And so then now for the last several months, I've taken away submissions during the competition.
They're only allowed to do control.
Only control. And so this is an interesting like part of it. And one of the reasons that I've been saying what I say to y'all sometimes in the adult class, you can see them sometimes, the one that has the dominant position that would want to get a submission. They know that they probably could even right now at this point, but they cannot be patient to control that position to keep winning.
Yeah.
They want to get something else, but there is nothing else. You have the back, you have the seat belt, you have both hooks, and they cannot move. All you have to do is hold them for, it's like a minute left probably. It's 2-minute rounds at the most. So if you get them down, you've had to hold them for the most like a minute 58 or something if you immediately take their back somehow.
Yeah.
But patience, control. Like, and that's what it says, you have to control this situation, not just them. You know what I mean? And so like which
means you have to control yourself.
That's what I'm saying. And so that's why I've been saying a lot of that to y'all, because they are right before y'all come in a lot of times, or have already been doing that or whatever. And it's like, And then I see it come up in some of the adults sometimes, but it doesn't look the same from y'all. Y'all are just moving through things too fast.
Trying to get to the next
just
thing.
moving to just trying to get to the end of the thing. They just want to get the win. You know what I mean? And sometimes that's what y'all are doing, so to say, but it's not really the same thing.
Trying to do the move.
Right.
And you're like, I want to do the move. Well,
I want to do the whole thing.
Yeah.
It's like, no, you got to do this part first. You know, and it's like, well, I don't want to do that part first. So, well, you can't get here then. You're gonna miss this then. So, but with them, it's like you've already got you've won. When you got the back, if there's no submissions, if you have the back with the control, that's it.
Yeah, if we're talking all rule sets, really, like if you take the back, that's one of the higher points. If you take the back and you control the back, and
we're giving them score. We're scoring them 2, 3 for pass, 4 for back. Whatever. So and so it's just like, hey, you just gotta be patient right here, or transition them out then if you want to, or that's when you may lose the position. You know what I'm saying? So it's like trying to give those lessons,
learning those gaps in the transitions. And
whereas when we're talking about the submissions, it was like, okay, they were just trying to submit each other. So we were learning good escapes to a degree, because when people are trying to pull on your head and your neck, look how easy this is to escape. So now look how hard it is when someone's not trying to choke you. Look how hard it is to escape when someone's focusing on control. It's a lot harder to escape then versus when somebody's just not worried about their control hooks, or seatbelt or anything like that, and they're just like no underhooks or whatever.
The first exposure I had to that was our very own Taylor. I rolled with him with a dummy knife, and we were like fighting over an object. And my first experience of like, oh, when a black belt doesn't care that you're there and they're focused on an object, it's like, no, please try to choke me. Like, I'll handle the knife. Like, let me, like I was getting stabbed from every direction and I was just being held down. And it was like, wait, this is horrible. No. But that comes back on the guy that's like, oh, what if I could eye gouge? It's like, well, the black belt is going to control you. You can't. Yeah. Is that that's the
That's right. It's the curly shuffle. I'm telling you, man, you can learn a lot about fighting from the Three Stooges.
That's not wrong.
If you know one thing, you know 10,000.
They did frame a lot of houses.
Yeah.
That's like their whole bit. They hit each other with the boards. Isn't that a Three Stooges thing?
That's part of it. Mm-hmm. The curly shuffle, the blocks, distance management. Right.
Curly was the bald one, right? Or was he the one with the fluffy?
The big dude.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, that's my guy, Curly. We do that. Look that up, Curly Shuffle. You should have that in your defense, and if you don't, you're not that good.
Is it named the Curly Shuffle? Or did
DVD
you name
coming
it
soon. That's why I named it.
That's yours.
That's me.
DVD, Makajabi, sir.
Soon.
You need to switch out DVD with Makajabi.
Mini course on Makajabi coming soon.
There we go.
On the Curly Shuffle. That'll be the first one we drop, I guess, because I've been talking about it a lot with y'all. It's just funny, man. It's like, I don't know. I'm sure other people have a name for what I'm doing, running your hips or something like that, I guess. I don't know. Nobody talks about that?
I've never heard it.
So that's what I'm saying. I don't know, man. I just say stuff.
Everywhere that I've repeated your lesson that you're on right now, people are like, wow. And I'm like, I know. Like it connected so many dots for me in that sense of when I like held the frames up next to each other, I was like, oh, they're the same. And it's like, oh, now they're replaceable. And I was like, that's the invisible jujitsu that it's like, I can't get past this guy's guard. It's because there's like 8 different frames that you're trying to, there's a new frame coming in front of you every time you try to readjust.
It's a series of not being able to let that happen.
But that's been interesting trying to teach that to people that are used to the like idea of what you're talking about. Like you're saying, like teaching it in a way that you go to the submission. Well, then everybody just focuses on how'd you get to that submission. It's like, no. Focus on the part before. Yeah. Once you get the full control and you have everything going on, well, now I have 18 different submissions that I can just pick one. And then that's where you get the experience of people ask you to submit them. They're like, just please, just make this stop.
One.
Just take one of them.
I don't want that one. Give me the other one.
I want a Dr. Pepper.
That's what I'm saying. Like, and it's powerful.
Some waffle fries.
That's power, and that's the control avenue of it that I like. You know, it's funny to me. I think it's been something that I don't know that I've always done it the same way. I know I haven't always done it the same way, but in my mind, I guess I've always been doing this stuff, except for the couple years I didn't use frames on purpose.
Why did you not use frames on purpose?
Because I wanted to see if they were a lie.
How do you not use frames?
You gotta be super you gotta be like water.
Oh, so you went like super like.
And so that's where a lot of my movie stuff. Okay, that's where a lot of that stuff was coming from too. Okay. Still, right?
I do some of that.
The other stuff that I showed y'all before we started getting heavy into the frame stuff.
But the frames make the other stuff work.
Yeah, they make it way better. Make it. They just you give it to me by accident when that happens because you think you're doing something else. You feel like there's another thing that's happening or there's another thing that you have to do, unless you're really smart and then you reset. Or you move to another spot, hopefully. That's better. But as long as I keep them there, proverbially, is that the right word? Proverbially? Metaphorically? Hypothetically?
Now I'm lost in words. You said too many words.
Euphemistically? Is that a word?
Sure.
I don't think that's right.
T-shirt coming soon. Euphemistically. I don't know. We probably should look up what words mean.
I don't know, man. I like words. I get a word of the day in an email.
Oh man.
Let's see what the last one was.
The word of the day? Like is this just you just signed up for this email to just get a word of the day?
Mm-hmm.
I'm sure they make an app for that.
Word genius.
Word genius.
Oh, it's just what you doing, man? Come on, play the sound.
Does it read?
Boulevardier.
What does this mean? Can you use it in a sentence?
A wealthy, fashionable socialite. Genevieve was a vivacious, popular boulevardier.
You heard it here first.
I didn't see that one yet, so that wasn't a good one to me. I don't really think
I mean, you're not going to use that boulevardier.
I'm going to now. That's my word.
You're going to weave that one into the
one. Literatum of the copying of a text letter by letter. Oh, it's going back to the thing.
That's kind of like literally.
Yep, word for word.
Literatum.
So instead of using literally, I know people that I don't understand the annoyance because I'm not good enough at English to understand why people get annoyed.
Literatum. So kind of like verbatim would be like you're repeating me verbatim. This is like you're copying it.
You're writing it down.
Literatum.
Interesting.
Interesting.
Getting an English lesson.
Bethany needed to transcribe the passages. Literatum.
That one doesn't flow nearly.
Word for word.
It's
English.
Yeah.
Learn your words. Words matter, man. Words matter.
This is true.
Sticks and stones break bones, but words will ruin your life.
I don't think that's how that goes.
It is how it goes, despite what you heard.
By popular belief.
Either somebody else's or your own will ruin you sometimes. So, yeah.
Words, not wrong.
Words definitely can hurt. You can say the wrong things and do the wrong things or whatever with that stuff. So, or you can listen to people the wrong way. So, yeah, words can be bad. Language is important. If you deal with people who are double speakers, that's the thing. We said that before. I heard whatever. I've been talking about that lately. What else? PGF season 4 qualifiers coming up, right?
March
155. 5th. March 5th, 155 men, 135 pound ladies. I think they upped that to more, right? They were talking about only 8, and now I think they said 16.
I think they've had quite a few signups.
Good.
From what I've heard.
Good.
So at least a lot of interest.
Listen, man, this is a way to super condense the experiences that you need to become better as a grappler.
It's a year's worth of competition.
And yeah, it's in a week, you know, and it's more than a year for a lot of people.
It's a career.
For some people, it's more than they've done ever. Yeah. Right. And so that's the thing is like, you got to get through that. And there's so many things that you can learn and take from it. And then on the way, the qualifiers will give you an opportunity to build your name, get your fan base up, get your reps up against some of the same people that you may run into again. If you lose at one, you can show up at another. There's nothing wrong with that.
Turns out,
just know
you go to all of them.
Just know that sometimes somebody shows up and they get dunked on. So be ready to prepare for that. Also, as an outcome for you, it's an experience that you need to have, though. If you're trying to be a professional, if you really take this stuff seriously,
What was your biggest takeaway as a competitor from the PGF?
I mean, just that it was hard, man. Like there was no really right way to do it except for to go out there and try to win every roll. Like that was it. And that you couldn't win. Like I couldn't win every roll. That was the thing. And so I should have just went out there and tried to win everyone. And the ones I didn't win, just let it be. Just let it be. Let it be, and just go win the ones I could win. So that was the biggest thing for me. And I think that's what everybody else can do on the way there too. It's like, don't get yourself hurt. Go out there, run your games, see what's up, get some feedback, go back to the lab, maybe try another one, see where you're at. And if you think you're one of the top people, for sure, you need to be in there, because I think this is a way, especially in the Southeastern community, to get your name out there right now 100%. In a lot of ways, 100%. Because you can get some real, what we call true fans, I think, in the biz, what we call them.
You can get a PGF card made of yourself.
You can get your own card made, and then there's like some PGFs, like incredible moments or whatever they're called.
Yes, iconic moments.
Those are like like the Battle-Rama and Isaac going to the Dream World and
Spirit World.
Yeah, same difference.
Yeah, Spirit World, Dream World,
and then the Elbow Genie, like when he first brought the gimmick out. The dump truck walkout. So just different things like that. It's bubbling, man. A lot of the stuff is bubbling, and I don't think that anybody knows exactly what it's going to look like when it's quote done.
Yeah.
But I think that there's a thing happening in this area, not just saying myself, but I think we're a big part of it in our own way. But there's a lot of other people that are part of it too, that are making a push on this no-gi kind of grappling scene. The PGF is a big part of it though. And people care about that storyline.
Yeah.
I think that's the biggest difference, is that when you come in and you just do a tournament or whatever, they just run you out there. There's no like story to give. Even the interviews aren't put in a way to give everybody depth or whatever, if they can, or to put a story with each athlete in a way that would make them interesting to the broader public.
The brand as a whole on all of them aren't very personable. This is a very personable story.
This is who you can be, right? Yeah. This is where you can be. This is what I'm saying. This is where you can make like your true fans or whatever they are, to where you can be who and show that off to everybody, whether that's winning or losing, or your attitude, whether that's good or bad or whatever it is. It's going to be highlighted because it's going to be condensed. If you do the season, if you make it to the season, I don't know, man. There's nothing else in all of the competition stuff that I did that equaled all the different level ups that I got in that week when I competed.
Well, yeah.
So
yeah,
maybe for me, it was because of the part of my career I was at also.
Yeah.
So if you're a young guy, maybe you won't get as much. Maybe you're not ready for as much of it as I was in a lot of those ways. But I think that you'll get a lot of the lessons that you need, because it forces you to make the walk over and over and over again, no matter what.
No matter how it's going, no matter how you're feeling.
You can't be scared. Like, you can't be scared.
Yeah.
You got to learn to navigate the room, because everybody's in the room all the time for the whole week. They're all around you. Everybody's around you. The other coaches, the other people. How do you feel? Can you handle yourself in that environment? Are you the kind of guy that's going to really like shrink up and like fall apart in that kind of situation? Are you the kind of person that rises up in those kind of environments? You're like, oh, this is the dude or the lady or whatever, the person that's like out here doing the thing. Look at this. I didn't realize they had that in them.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Sometimes you see stuff like that too, because the lights are different when they're on you. Right. You know what I mean? And so that fight, flight, or freeze is a thing. Even though this is just jiu-jitsu or whatever, it's on. You know what I mean? And the other person standing across from you wants to win, and their belt rank doesn't matter. And what they've done before, it matters, but not as much as it does. It doesn't matter
in the moment.
That's what I'm saying. Yeah. So who they are, your belt, whatever you've won versus what they've won, it's not always going to come out that way, because it's a 6-minute sprint to the finish. And if you don't get it, then you just wasted all that energy, and you still got 2 more matches, or you still got 1 more match, or then that was it for today. Come back tomorrow. You got 3 more matches.
How did it go last night? Doesn't matter. Go ahead.
Right.
Try again.
Feels awful. Back again today.
Bro,
was
when I
hard.
started laughing so hard was when we made the Groundhog Day reference. When it was like I was in the class and I was like, wait a minute, today's Groundhog Day? What if I just like wake up underneath Kevin Sherrill again? And I'm like, no.
Back in the So let's try this again, see if we can change anything here.
But like one of the things
Just
about
wake up
the
under a different person.
experience, it's just over. That's kind of how my week went. Like one of the crazy things to me is that like of course I didn't have the performance that I wanted and all that. And
what performance did you want? Now that you've had
that I've had time,
what was so honest, Isaac? Like
honestly, like I knew that I wasn't going in and I wasn't gonna like dunk on anybody and I wasn't gonna be the guy that broke out and just dominated. I thought that I had a snowball's chance to like make it to at least the final tournament to like accumulate enough points in that, because it was such a stacked division that I was like, there's a small chance that the scoring, especially as the week was going along, even though I was not doing well, there was still that like, it's like I could still get in. There's a guy in here that I can beat. But like I didn't even realize this till probably a week ago. Huh?
I want to do it again.
I'm 100% down to doing it again, but it's
Brandon, do a Masters division.
Oh, a Masters division guys. PGF. Oh, that would actually be interesting.
I'll announce myself and then I'll run out onto the mats. And now coming to the stage.
But like for me, I didn't even realize this until like a week ago that I was talking to somebody and like I've had a couple conversations like this, and what it was is that like they watched everything I went through and they watched the season play out and the preseason play out. And it was like a few of them have told me, they were like, man, I was just like sitting on the couch watching jiu-jitsu. I really wasn't getting much done. The pandemic and whatnot had me down. I wasn't getting in this training as much. And they were like, after they saw me going through the week, they were like, man, I got back in the gym and like started training. And they're like, I want to compete next week. And like some of them want to do the PGF. Some of them are just in other places. And like that takeaway for me was like, oh, there's more to this than just like, are you out there being the guy?
Okay, question then. So then, all right, and this is another like super tough one maybe to answer, but I think this is something that your experience is different than other people's. There's only been a few people that have done what you've done in this way. So that's what I'm saying.
Right.
What would you say to the person or to the person's coach who says they would like to be in the PGF or whatever, but they don't want to go out there and look like Isaac,
like lose over and over and over,
lose
again.
Every match?
Yeah.
What would you say to that person that has that little bit of doubt inside their heart, or their coach feels like maybe that's a thing that their person could have happen to them, being on the other side of it, knowing everything you know about it now? What would you say to the person that could potentially happen to?
You could show up and be drafted as alternate and sitting there before the battle round existed. I had to go over the mental bridge. Like this whole thing was a journey, because you got to sit there and go over the mental bridge as the draft's playing out of like, oh man, I took a week off work. I told my wife I was going to be gone for a week to go do this big jiu-jitsu thing. And now you get drafted as the like bench warmer. And then like it turned out to be a cool thing, and like the culture really fed into that. Like, and it worked out to be a cool, really neat part of it. But like, I mean, we saw it play out on a couple people that it was like, man, there were black belts that weren't drafted in the 5th round. Like that's crazy. So like, yeah, anything can happen. It's the PGF, baby. Like that's what can happen, is that like you could get dunked on. You could be having an off week.
So should they stay home?
Should you stay home? I mean, if you're having that thought, probably. But if you're like,
what if your student wanted to do it and you thought they were going to, what if you were me in this situation and like someone came up that I thought was going to get, like you had just done that, and then someone that you're like, I'm going to do it. And you're like, man, you're going to be the guy that gets dunked on.
Tell them that.
Just be honest about it. Just blunt. Just like, I think you're going to get dunked on.
This is deep waters.
But I'm going to go with you anyway.
Yeah.
Stuff like that.
Yeah.
You'd go with them anyway. So this is the thing we've talked about with the journey, right?
If
the task, the work, so to say. What was that you called it? And you don't have to say it again right now, but like the task thing that you have set out before them, that it's like if they'll do this,
the impossible task. If
you can do this, then no matter what, if this happens, everything else can be okay.
And you don't even have to do the impossible task. It's really just the attempt of it. It's like if you're trying to do the thing and like I said, it's like we were talking about belts. Like that's a moving target, really, because that's the point. It's like the point is that like you're gonna do this regardless. So all right, let's do this the best possible way with the best possible outcome, and then just know you're gonna learn your lessons in that scenario.
I dig it. I think it's hard to do that.
Oh, it's definitely hard.
It was hard to be me
in
that room in a lot of ways because there was multiple things happening in that way. One, I care about you as a person. Like, whatever. Beyond all that stuff, we're cool. We're buddies now. So I want you to do well, as you know, and I want you to have fun, and I want you to be proud of yourself in that way. That's all I care about. And so I was like, cool, man, we did it. We're here. You know what I mean? Like, friend Stephen was here. We're having a great time. I can't believe it. You know what I mean? But then coach was like, hey, we got to nail down every little part of this stuff that's got holes, but there was no way to do it in that moment. So as the coach, this is where I had just had to get out of the feeling of everything and try to live in the best version of the reality that was possible to stay motivated for me and for you to keep pushing hard in spite of everything, even when the matchups were not looking good, even when it was a day that it looked like this day definitely is not the day. You know, maybe the next day is going to be the day that we get the score, but I know today's probably, I can't remember the exact lineup anymore, but there was one day I was like,
oh, it was like,
damn it. You know,
it turned out
that I think day 3.
I think it was the day that I think it was like
Geo, right? That day.
Oh, yeah, that was a bad day. Like
Geo, Elkins, and was that the same day?
No, that wasn't the same day.
Okay.
That wasn't the same day. That I don't believe.
I can't remember at this point.
It's all a blur.
But there were several of the days that I was like, you know, honestly, I'm not sure how you're going to win this, but we had to go in there and I had to think about the ways that you could win and give you the right directions that would give you the best, you know? Yeah. So that's the thing is like, how do you do both of those things and get your guy ready or your person ready to go? Where, all right, Isaac, we know now that today is going to be bad one way or the other, but we can try to go out here and mitigate the damage and maybe pick some people off or whatever it takes at that point.
Yeah.
You know, it was a lot different, man, because I felt like when I was there, I thought I could beat everybody.
Yeah.
I was like, okay. I mean, yeah, some of these guys are going to probably beat me.
Yeah.
And some of these guys are going to probably be able to zero me out for sure. For sure. Like no problem with that. But I didn't think there was a person in there that I couldn't submit to in the right situation. Like, so there, even on the worst day, I was like, I messed up because I wanted to beat the best guys.
Yeah.
I skipped over my easy wins, so to say, sort of to try to pick off the high value targets, which was a mistake, long term, so to say. Not really. I don't care. It wasn't a mistake. I just wish I would have tried to fight those other dudes a little bit harder now too, so I had that, you know, on tape, because they would have got wrecked.
I don't think I was in the right like mental space when I went in. Like when that, like ultimately, I think I talked to you about that while I was there. Is that like I went back to a certain headspace that like I don't think it was the right one.
I told you that about myself a little bit, right? It's like you get out there and you start getting in that environment, and dude, you're running on like adrenaline for like 3 or 4 days.
Yeah,
you know what I mean. You don't realize that, and then
it doesn't really sink into like day 2 that you're like, oh, I'm on this adrenaline ride and I'm not coming off. And it's like,
stop.
It's like being on that fight night adrenaline high
for every day
for a week. Like that's a weird place to even navigate.
I did a good job, man. That's what I was saying. I was so surprised when I was there, looking like in retrospect, how well I handled that. Like I didn't realize that part of it until it was over for me. Like how much I must have stayed on while I was there, because I wasn't sore or anything. But halfway home, I just broke down. My back was hurting like hell, cramping up. I was crying because I was just so emotional.
Yeah.
In general, and nobody was around, I guess, maybe finally. And it just all was like releasing out, you know, all the different stress of the whole week and the decisions and the non-decisions and the whatever.
Coulda, shoulda, woulda.
Yeah, it all hit me at one point then because there was nobody there to prop me up.
Yeah.
You know, and the fight was over. You know what I mean? So there was nothing to stay up for in that moment. So it hit me really hard. And that's how I know that it must have been something like that. My body was giving me what I needed that week.
Yeah.
To stay safe. Like the chemicals were like my pain receptors or whatever. I was getting the stuff I needed from my body to keep my body feeling good. The dopamine or whatever that is that you get.
It's the adrenaline, the cocktail of adrenaline. Like
I guess I've just done it so much and so long or whatever in a way that I got comfortable living in that space. But then that's what we were saying. Once I realized after the fact where I was, I really got scared because I don't like that part of myself all the time.
That version.
I mean? Yeah. Because it's do or die.
Yeah.
It's do or die. And that ain't a good lifestyle.
That's like, all right. So like there's a little bit of a connect. Did you see Dave?
Is that Little Dicky's
TV show?
Some.
Did you see when he walks out for his like first big show or whatever?
Probably not.
I won't do the spoiler. Go watch that show and like see that, and you'll see where like it's it's the killing off a part of yourself so that you can go do the thing. Like that's like the essence of it, and I felt that go through that. So like if you're a competitor and you want to compete and you want to be on any level, like, well, then the PGF is only going to level you up. So like go do a qualifier. If the qualifier doesn't go well and you feel like it wasn't what you wanted, then all right, you did a qualifier and got some experience. If it's what you wanted and you really want to get in, there's a bunch of qualifiers out there. And like the options are you either go in there and you win the thing and you get in, or you go in there and you show why you're on this journey. And that's what Brandon and Keelan are looking for. They're looking for stories and journeys and understanding that like not all of us trained for this sport just because we want to be the best in the world. All of us want to train like the best in the world, and we want to train to where, you know, we're speaking the same language, but like not everybody can be the number one. That's just not feasible. But I don't think that's not saying I'm not trying to go out and win. Like I'm not like, like it was fun. Like I win. No, like that sucked. Like I went to the back and like I had the same emotional dump you did, like you're talking about. Like there's a lot. And also everybody in the field had that emotional dump. The winners, the losers, everybody
despite
did.
What they say.
It does not matter who you are. It gets to you on an emotional level somehow. And if it doesn't, it'll hit you in about 2 years, I think, personally, from what I watched. But I didn't watch anybody not walk out of there the same person that walked in.
Oh, you can't. That's the thing. Is like you can't go through the same thing. Like you can't go through that week and then be the same person no matter what. You know, even if you don't have a good week, or even if you do have a good week, because now like Elijah won the season, but then he didn't make it to the playoffs,
right? And that was a decision.
And so what does that mean? Nothing, or a lot, depending on who you are and what you think about it,
right?
So it is what it is. David won. So what does that mean? Well, he's back again next season or whatever, and he could be a 2-time champion himself, maybe, and then that would be the first 2-time like playoff champion back to back.
Well, yeah, and in the process too, like he got his brown belt. Like he was talking about the fact that he was. I mean,
more excited for that,
I feel him on that. Like that's a whole lot more of a high. Yeah, that's a big huge props, because that's a very well deserved brown belt.
He earned it, and that's what I'm saying. So I think it's a great experience. I think the PGF is fun in and of itself. I think it can grow to a bigger idea, but even if it doesn't, doing it yourself at the level that it's at or whatever right now, if it stays at this level, kind of, if you would say that, it's still worth going out there and getting the experience. Like you said, one way or the other. If this is what you want to do, if this is who you say you are, if that's really true, then you should. If it's not, don't do it. Don't let somebody talk you into it. Don't feel bad because somebody else wants you to compete, or you think somebody's going to love you a little bit more if you go out there and compete, or
do it only for yourself.
Listen,
don't do it for your coach.
And I don't mean that in a way that when I say this, I don't mean it in a way that's bad, but like I mean it in the most honest way possible, so you can be protected. You have to be selfish with this stuff.
A competitor does.
These decisions have to be selfish.
It has to be yours.
It's for me, or it's for something else. And if it's for something else besides you, then that something else has to be then turned into something for you that you can get that intrinsic value out of it, no matter what, because you're not going to get the physical thing that you expect anytime ever. The outpouring of emotion from everybody may come once, and then it
doesn't
won't happen.
It's not
sustained.
Yeah,
that's what I'm saying. It's over immediately. You get it right then, maybe, but next week they've already forgot.
Yeah,
and it's over. So then it doesn't really matter. They don't forget per se, you know what I mean?
But well, it doesn't really. And the people that are down with you still, they still support you, even when they're not saying it.
So it doesn't matter. Yeah, you know what I mean? And the people who jump off the ship, it's actually better that they get off. Yeah.
And it'll shock you in 10 years if you're still doing the same. That's with me. Like I've hit that like 10-year mark of like, oh, like people go, oh, you're still doing that? Oh, that's cool. Like, and people that will hit me up and say, hey man, I've been watching your stuff. I'm like, bro, I quit talking to you like 15 years ago. Cool. Like that's like, it'll blow your mind who still like watches your stuff. And they're like, oh, that's kind of cool. And like, if it's what you want to do in the life you want to live and the thing you want to, the journey you want to go down, then me personally, to get back to answering your question of why that I continue to do stuff like this is why I'm jumping off that deep end. And this is why, like, I'm going to do it regardless of what, like, I'm not going to be talked out of it. And so I understand that person is because like, if it's not this, it's going to be something else that I'm doing. That's like crazy and wild and like, and not for the, oh, crazy. Wow. He's a crazy guy. Like, no, it's just, that's the itch that I go to do.
This is a thing.
Yeah.
That helps that thing be fixed, quote,
right,
for lack of a better term.
And
it is a thing that some people can lean in heavy into alcohol and heavy drugs and other situations, bad situations. I know what you're saying.
Right.
If you don't make this healthy version of this choice, it's gonna be way worse.
Either that or even too, like, I mean, there's other things I do outside of jiu-jitsu that is the stuff that you're like, oh, well, that's a little risky. And it's like,
well, that's what I'm saying. So point. If you're not doing this, then you're
I'm not
doing more of something else.
Right.
You know, a lot of people, though, you see the alcohol and the drugs and stuff like that as one of the easy ones. But then also more risky behavior. You start jumping boats or riding motorcycles or whatever. You know, what I mean?
And like this, the PGF is a chance to go in and do it with, so we were talking about like not the point of being the number one. Well, I'd love to play a game with the number one. Well, here's a chance. Like here's a chance that you could touch.
For sure.
Yeah, like you could touch some of the best guys. You could roll with
some of these people are going to end up very good, and I don't know if they'll ever end up the best in the world because, like we say, there's only ever one or so of those. But some of these guys will end up being those guys.
Right.
Like it's funny to me now to be whatever I am to some people, because like you said, it's just I've been doing it for a long time now. That does make me special in that way, but other than that, it doesn't. But I can see now the levels of respect that I used to always give to other people being given to me in a way now.
But it's because you have access to a world that they don't.
Well, and that's what I'm saying. But I just still don't think about this, like it's just that's what it is. It's still just one thing though,
right?
It's, you know what I mean? I have whatever. It's still just one thing, man. You can do everything I did, and you can have this one thing that I have. If you think that that's a thing that you know what I mean?
But it looks hard, man.
It is hard, bro.
Exactly.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
But that's what you got to know. You know what I mean? It's the impossible journey. It's the impossible task, and I did it on my own. But not by myself.
Maybe the point isn't to get to the end of it.
I didn't do it by myself, though. You know what I mean? That's I did it on my own, but I didn't do it by myself. I was selfish a lot of times, but I had to pull that back when it was not time to be selfish.
Right.
I had to go heavy the other way when I was coming off of my heavy selfishness times. And then once I hit that break of realizing at whatever point that was that I was really being super destructive overall with the way of doing the things I was doing it, I was like, okay, well, I'll chill out.
Is there ever the perfect balance of the competitor and the coach? Because of the need to be so selfish as a competitor, can you also be a teacher in the same sense?
I don't know if you can.
It's a hard way to keep both your feet in both.
Because you have to be right if you're competing.
Or at least believe that you're right.
And you have to, and there has to be an element of other people just not being good enough.
Because you have to believe you're the best.
And so, yes. And then that guy as a coach is probably not always the best leader day to day, because he's in his head about being the best.
Himself.
Right. He's still trying to be number one. He's not number one. He wants to be number one. Coach, you're number one already. You know what I mean? You're already number one in the hearts of your people here.
Yeah.
Right. But I'm not number one though. But everybody in the room thinks I am. But I'm not. And so then you bump up against that stuff because, it's the joke about it. They saw the video with the guy doing this other thing from what you're saying. So what about that guy? Because he's number one. And it's like, well, yeah, I mean, yeah. So then what do you do then? How do you deal with that situation? Well, if you may potentially have to compete against that dude, your response will be a lot different than it would be if there's no potential way that you're going to compete against him. You know what I'm saying? You
can have the 30,000 foot view versus the right in front of me 10 feet away.
And if you're really, really, really trying to be number one, that's a thing.
Yeah.
You have
to be in the moment.
You are better than everybody.
Yeah.
You have to be better than it. And you selfishly have to believe that or you're not going to be it. And so, period. And so,
is it true in the, that's an interesting, in the mindset of Gordon Ryan, obviously, he hasn't lost to anybody that's
in
a while. So what, does he really believe that? Or is it just confirmed by his actions? Does my question make sense?
He believes it enough.
Okay.
That it's working. And he believes it more than the other people that he's competed against don't believe it, I guess.
Okay.
And then he's also just better than some of them enough too that want to be that person. He's just a little bit better than that.
Yeah.
So that's the thing. But now, he's got Galvo coming up. I wonder what that's going to look like. Galvo believes he's the best.
Right.
He's believed he's the best for a long time. And then now the only thing would be the age comes up because that's legit. It's a real argument. He's older. He's got a lot, you know what I mean? And Gordon's younger, whatever. So then what do you say then? I don't know, man. Who's the best? I don't know. Who was ever the best? Neither one of them. Somebody else before. Marcelo Garcia was the best before them. Roger Gracie. But they both beat them probably now for sure.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So then what does that mean? I don't know. Well, was it Hickson? Well, then everybody can beat Hickson right now in a real competition kind of role because he's 60 something maybe. But he's the best of the best.
So is it knowledge?
That's the question that I ask all the time. I come back to, right? It's
not
on the day of the competition. It's not a knowledge.
It's a combination of all of it.
And this is where guys like Hickson were the best. It's because he, in his competition day, combined all those things, and the other top guys weren't doing a lot of that yet.
Yeah,
he was doing a lot of the stuff that most of the top guys do yet. These days, he was one of the first ones to start doing a lot of that kind of stuff.
His top tier is now the starting level.
It's where
top level.
This is the expected minimum now.
You at least
he set the bar
Yeah.
for everybody after him. You must be at least this good to be the best.
Yeah,
that's the minimum best level from that. You know what I mean? And so if you don't even reach that level of 1990s Hickson, then you won't be the best now ever.
Yeah.
So that's the thing.
And even then, you can reach that level. You can have all those boxes checked, and you can still lose.
Yeah, for sure.
That's what's crazy about the combat sports. Yeah,
it's no disrespect to him. I love listening to him speak, and I've watched a lot of his stuff. And we talked about that the other day or whatever.
The book is
amazing,
incredible. Yeah,
and you think about the generation of people, at least maybe 2 generations of grapplers that have really been affected by his philosophies and stuff like that. Either from their teacher directly or from him
at least
directly,
indirectly, yeah.
From somebody that learned from him or whatever those ideas were. And I didn't realize it more until maybe in the last couple of months when you and I were talking more about the book and me being the coach now and repeating a lot of the things that basically he was saying in the book. Almost it felt like verbatim a lot of times. And it's like, man, where did I hear this? And then I was like, man, I watched Choke like a bunch of times. Yeah. I would watch, I studied, man.
And it's been permeating through the other culture.
Right, exactly.
Since you started.
He's been the best. So everybody, all the really good guys wanted to be like him. So then now it's like, okay, you know what I mean? That's the thing. And so now who is the best now? Nobody really knows. There's no guarantee that it's anybody.
Who is
the best?
Yeah.
The best, because they won't match up with each other. They won't really do the thing all the time.
Do you think that starts getting out of the culture eventually?
No. The more money's involved, it'll always be a thing, and it'll be even worse as more money gets involved, probably.
The more legitimized, quote
unquote. Basically like boxing in a way, then you
guys start standing in their corners and being like, what association?
You're 7 pounds heavier than me, bro. I can't risk it, because the WBL.
Well, you hold a belt in this one and that one.
So, right. And so, I don't know. The best is the person who wins that day, allegedly, And if you're a competitor, that's true, right? But if you're trying to be a coach, the best coach doesn't have to win the competition himself. He needs to find the students that can win the competition. He needs to educate them so they can win. So you need good students.
Yeah.
And then how do you cultivate that? So you got to cultivate the environment first, because not everybody's going to be the athlete. So you got to convulsive, you know what I mean? So it's just like,
that's my biggest takeaway from the book was like how, like showing through the stories of whatnot. And like, I grew up in the church. So like I grew up with like all the different stuff, biblical stories and whatnot. And like how that built culture. Like when I was listening to the Hickson book, like it was fascinating to me of how powerful these concepts are on the mat and like in people's lives,
universally.
Like it's powerful. And so like I think not only the best in the world is also good at understanding that and orchestrating that, but like using it in a way that's created the culture that we fell in love with. And this is why we do this.
And this is why the samurai culture is so important to the jiu-jitsu world, like Masashi and all that kind of stuff. For one thing, 10,000 things or whatever. Hickson was that guy. He was the one that was pushing the samurai kind of Bushido culture more than other guys. Not the only one, but he was a big guy, the big name person that was doing that style,
pushing that thought.
Yeah. And other people weren't really worried about that. They wanted to bust some heads and get some cash.
He was doing the warrior pose,
right? And that's the thing. And some guys wanted to be the money makers and the businessmen of the thing, because that's what they were better at. They weren't better at competing. They were better at business. So you do, but you know what I mean? Find your lane, man, and make yourself, happy in whatever that is. And if you need to be the warrior, go be the warrior. And if you need to be the poet or the businessman or the person behind the scenes or the organizer or the whatever, right? You just got to be aware of that, though. And everybody's got to understand that there's a place for each of us. And number one is relative to where we are right now. And that's when one of the funny things, man, is like, we kind of talked about that too, like dropping the character or whatever, but going back and forth from like the PGF to the Mid-South or whatever, and dealing with things like with Brandon or whatever, where he's obviously got a lot more experience in almost all of these things than I do. You know what I mean? A lot of it, probably not MMA, but most everything else probably. But then when he comes down here to the Mid-South stuff or whatever, it's on me to be like in charge and giving him the directions on things to do. And he wants, you know what I mean? He wants someone to tell. And when he goes to the bigger things, that's what happens for him.
Falls into his role.
He's a player. He's not the guy. He's just a guy.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And seeing that again, the guys that do that, like play your role. Yeah. Whatever your given role is this day is who you are today. You have to play the character that is giving to you today.
Yeah.
Today you are warrior. Okay, I will warrior today. Tomorrow you must be janitor. Okay, tomorrow I will janitor. You know what I mean? It's like there's
but treating them, and that's that whole samurai thing is like all the same way.
Of like chop wood, carry water, that whole thing. Yeah, the whole thing. Like you do everything with excellence. From one thing, 10,000 things. That whole That's what I'm saying. You do it every day in every way, and it's so hard in society today to live like that. Because there's so much going on. There's so much disconnect with everybody. People don't have the connection. You don't have it in you. I'm sorry. You don't have a connection to yourself, much less for me to tell you to feel connected to the other person.
To the rest. Yeah. Yeah.
And that's the hard part for me right now.
You don't know who you are.
The depth of time that I've spent on that journey to get connected to me.
Right.
Some of y'all, and I'm not talking just trash or whatever, but just some of you haven't done that yet. And so I'm trying to come back up to the surface-ish level of this stuff for you to get back down or to bring you closer to where I'm at.
Did you watch the Midnight Gospel by any chance? There's an episode of this like where it's like talking about a layer of he goes back to get them out of a jail that like in the jail they die repeatedly, and it's the whole lesson repeats itself until it's learned. And it's the one that he's chained to is got an anger problem. It's the whole reason they ended up there. But it's like that. It's like he keeps trying to go back to say, and when he realizes that, like the one that's going through the cycle of dying over and over, he tries to tell all the people, and like they use music as the lesson there, but like jujitsu or art or something like that can be that train to like kind of help people come back from that whole thought process of like, I'm doing this thing, I'm just doing what I'm supposed to, I'm on the hamster wheel, I'm doing this, I'm doing that. Like, I think that learning those tiers and going through the journey of jiu-jitsu kind of shows people and gives them a roadmap. And that's what I mean by like when it's about who sticks around that gets the lesson, because you got to get all the way through it.
And that too. And then a part of it is just that you can't learn what you already know. And that's part of this thing that we deal in the world is everybody's so effing confident about everything, to the point of ignorance. And then they just know. And it's like, but you don't yet. And I say this in class a lot. You don't know because I don't think I know. And your only frame of reference is what I've told you on this subject.
So I know you don't know because
I don't even think you've gotten a complete explanation yet.
Yeah.
So there's like stuff like that. And that would be the same for me if I went into somebody else's in here. If I went to that side of it, if we switch sides, it would be okay. I could probably get it going. It wouldn't be as smooth or whatever. And in time, it may get better because I would want it to or whatever. But that's it. That's the whole process for everything. Or you just don't want it that bad. You just didn't really want to do it that bad. You didn't learn enough to do it.
Yeah.
So if you want to do it, you'll still do other things, but then you'll keep learning about the thing on the side until you can do the thing. And then you're doing the thing.
Well, there's a huge value in being the new guy and learning something.
That's what I'm saying.
Like,
sometimes even, and this is what I mean, like I love to go places and be a student. I love to go to class. And when people do seminars here, I love to sit down and just listen.
When did you cross that bridge with seminars? That was a side question I had like an hour ago. Like with seminars, because I always
it was in San Diego.
Yeah. Was that when you started seeing that?
It was. Well, actually, the best seminar I'd ever went to before the ones I had went to out there when I had a better time understanding them was a Pahumpa seminar at Rush.
Okay.
In Macon. That was one of the first seminars that I went to where the guy gave out information and we worked our asses off. Like it was a ton of drilling.
Yeah.
It was constant work the whole time.
Yeah.
But at that point in my life, that's what I wanted. So I loved that that's what we were doing. I loved that there was no nonsense because I thought there was a lot of people that were BSing all the time.
Just so chilling, hanging out.
You couldn't BS in front of him. And so everybody got exposed that day. Me and the other people who were always working,
there drilling,
who always did the work. So it's like, I loved that one. And I learned a lot about moving the neon, like the mount stuff that we use a lot, moving neon bellies, sliding
which
across.
Which is crazy because Pumpa's a small guy,
right?
But he is dominant.
Yeah. And this is what, but that's what I'm saying is like these, like whatever you say about the big guy, little guy thing, I learned it from a little man.
That's
like
your mount came from a little guy.
Or from Bubby, who's also really tiny. You know what I mean? And stuff like that. So like I've learned stuff from big guys too, but like that one seminar for sure revolutionized to me the way I was mounting and moving through the upper body parts of dominant positions.
Lindsay changed how I pass guard from the seminar down in Costa Rica.
It's like, definitely some different things that you can wrinkle into different things like that too. So it's not always what you think, but so that was one good seminar that we went to or whatever that I felt really good about at purple belt. But then it was probably at brown belt. And I think it was some of those, the first like Freaks Summit where they had a bunch of seminars together. And I got to see all these high level dudes teach back to back to back. And I saw that they were all wrong to each other. And I was like, okay, this is what I got to go know. I got to go know how they contradict each other. How does everybody what does he say that he said was wrong, or what he said that he said was different, or he said, and it's not, what I mean? They're not talking about each other.
They're just saying like the concepts cancel each other
idea.
out.
Yeah, that's right. Exactly.
They're all different concepts. It's like, oh, hey, y'all have a different approach.
This guy from today who didn't know is coaching against the guy from yesterday. And he's right. But man, that guy yesterday was right too.
It's like this frame conversation.
That's what I'm saying. It's like, how do you do that? Who wins? The better guy.
Yeah.
Well, who's better? The one who does it the best.
Yeah. Like one of my best friends, the guy that like got me into jiu-jitsu is somebody I trained with back in Prattville. And I've started running these frames that we've started doing and building it up. I just taught it to him yesterday morning.
This is what we meant.
We love you, Todd.
This is what we meant.
These are frames, houses.
Year
but
later.
But Alan, like he modeled his game off of he only wanted to behave like Marcelo. So like his game is heavy, like front headlock, guillotines, like stuff like that. He's one of the people that guillotines me a lot. And I've started doing this, and it completely has changed our role. We've rolled together a lot over the last 2 years, but like our role completely changed when I started framing different because
my toxic trait is I want the underhook.
Yeah. I've been complimented on how often I find the underhook. They're like, man, you find that anywhere. And I'm like, yeah, and I get choked a lot.
Except for against people who don't know what they're doing.
Except for people that don't know what the underhook is. And but now this gives the run of the people that know that, and it's an entirely different game.
And now the underhook will work again soon.
Turns out. So it's like you said, that's how the game plays. You contradict each other, it evolves, and then we come out with this next thing. It's like, all right, everybody's doing this. What are we going to do?
Now everybody's passing.
We'll go back to the old thing now.
They're passing from their knees again. Now they're passing from their feet again. Now they're passing, you know what I mean? Whatever the thing is like, oh, they're doing this again. You look back, they were already doing that before, maybe just not in the exact same context. You know, one of the interesting things, like when Gio was talking about the K-guard stuff, we talked about that too. People were doing stuff like that for a long time.
Yeah.
It just wasn't as sophisticated. You know, there wasn't as many well-documented paths.
Everybody hadn't thought it all the way
like
out.
The Dead Orchard or whatever. Now it's like, I was like, okay, there's another one.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But at the time, I was like, what?
Well, and like even like his stuff, especially sometimes I find a hard time like finding. We've been on for like an hour 50. What do you want? You want to wrap it?
Probably need to.
Yeah. You probably have stuff you need to go do.
I should have been gone a long time ago.
I didn't know if you had a heart out.
I don't, but you know how I am.
This happens.
This is what I'm saying, y'all. I love y'all. And I love this. And I enjoy everything almost that I do. But then there's things that need to be done other times that just don't seem that important to me until I have to do it, you know? And I'm sure nothing that's on my phone, those 32 messages and phone calls and stuff. I'm sure all that's it's fine.
It's all okay. It's
totally
perfectly fine. It's okay.
But yeah, man, listen, I love everybody. I do love everybody, except for the people that hate me. I still love you. I really don't have any beef with anybody. I don't even know why I brought that up.
If you do have a beef with somebody, call Buddy.
678-226-1994. Don't call him if you got beef with me, because he may fight you. Like, that's the thing. Buddy's my guy, man. Listen, if I have law troubles, I'll go to him because he can help me out. But if I got some stuff that can't be talked about and it needs to be done, we need to just roll up. That means, hey, we'll just roll up. You know what I mean? We'll just pull up. And
he's like our Better Call Saul. He's like our Saul.
Yeah, dude. Oh my God. Yes. But like a little slicker.
A little slicker.
Yeah.
Got a little more style.
More profesh.
Okay.
Yeah,
all right.
Yeah. Definitely more profesh. Yeah. 678-226-1994. Call it. Hit it up. Anybody else? Parkway Automotive Studios. Thank you guys so much. We have been working out some different things with sponsors in our gym. If you guys are interested in something that could be like a semi-permanent banner in our gym, it would at least be 1 year. We're going to do like a 3x4 space for like $500 or for $500. That can be up on our wall for the whole year. We're going to like pick one a week and like feature them on something on social media, maybe on this thing right here. So it'll be a lot of eyeballs. We'll have all these tournaments and things. People will be seeing your stuff on there. So it doesn't necessarily have to be just local people. Anybody that has a company that would like to have eyes in a location like ours, send me some stuff. We'll do it. We will work it out. We're trying to grow this thing, and we need to do it now because that's when we're doing it, is right now. So thank you guys. Much love and appreciate everybody that's been helping out. Thank you to Young Isaac Stackhouse. You can find him at The Daily Stack, The Wandering Grappler, Blind Lincoln. You can find him on the NFTs on the OpenSea. He's out there on the Discords. He's just go to all those
everywhere.
Things. I'm everywhere.
Listen,
he's wandering all over your internet too. But we're really excited about this PGF drop for the NFTs. There's a lot of stuff that's going on there. The collectability of those, the cards and stuff.
March 1st
for anybody that's in there. So you need to probably work out your processes if you're trying to get in there and scoop any of that up. And then, yeah, Mid-South, Geo, Boogie are coming. April 9th and 10th are the back days for that. March 19th, I'm in Waycross. Yeah, and that's it, man. We love you guys. Stay tuned for more stuff. I'm sorry. I realized we've been talking for 2 hours and it just kind of scatterbrain me back out there. Much love. Peace.